Chapter 18, April in Georgia. The madmen who run Japan and Germany refuse to give up. They talk of leading their nations in a fight to death. Terrible firebombs are dropping on Tokyo and Dresden. Hundreds of thousands of people are dying. Just as a fist squeezes its contents, so British, American, and Russian troops are squeezing Germany. In the Pacific Theater, we are making plans to invade Japan. Everyone expects that invasion to be bloodier than the one in Normandy. The Allies will win this war. That now seems clear, but the German and Japanese leaders are making it very difficult. Like ancient rulers who had their followers killed and buried in their tombs, these leaders seem determined to kill their own people. The president knows of something that might end the war quickly. It's that secret weapon that almost no one knows about, partly because of this. He feels he can relax and catch up on some paperwork. He is exhausted. He's just turned 63, but he looks much older. Here's some ruins in Germany. The war has been a terrible strain. He has traveled around the world. He has run for a fourth term as president. He has been active as commander-in-chief in the armed services. He has been an inspiring leader. He needs to take it easy for a few days, so he makes plan to go to Warm Springs, Georgia. He first visited Warm Springs years earlier when he was recovering from polio. The waters are healing. He had been back many times and has grown to love this slow-paced gentleness of the South. In Georgia, wild violets are blooming, so are purple-blue wisteria and sweet-smelling honeysuckle. It is springtime, April 12th, 1945, and at Warm Springs, cooks are preparing a picnic. The smells of barbecued beef and chicken fill the air. As the president works, an artist sits nearby, making sketches for a watercolor portrait. Almost exactly 80 years earlier, another American president had decided to relax and go to the theater, knowing that a terrible war was coming to an end. Like that other president, Roosevelt is concerned about the peace that is to come. He wants this war to have meaning. Soon after the war began, he met with Winston Churchill and signed a document called the Atlantic Charter. It says that after the war, the nations will be free to choose their own forms of government. That is called self-determination. Roosevelt wants to end the old before the war ways, the imperialist ways. Then a few European nations ruled much of the world. Sometimes they ruled well, sometimes not well. To Roosevelt, that doesn't matter now. People should be free to govern themselves. Great Britain still controls India and Burma. France expects to regain control of Indochina, which includes Vietnam. Japan has attempted to become an empire. The United States rules the Philippine Islands. Roosevelt thinks imperialism, even well-meaning imperialism, is wrong. He will show the world America has no desire for other lands. He will begin by granting independence to the Philippines. He is planning to go to the independence ceremonies himself. Russia is a worry. The Russian people have fought magnificently. They have been brave allies, but they aren't free people. Stalin is a dictator. Winston Churchill believes that Stalin cannot be trusted. Roosevelt is beginning to have his worries about Stalin too. At Warm Springs, he worked on a speech to be given at dinner, to be given at a dinner to honor Jefferson's memory. This is part of what Roosevelt writes. The once powerful, malignant, which means harmful, Nazi state is crumbling. The Japanese warlords are receiving in their own homeland the retribution, which means punishment, for which they asked when they attacked Pearl Harbor. But the mere conquest of our enemies is not enough. We must go on to do all in our power to conquer the doubts and the fears, the ignorance and the greed which made this horror possible. If civilization is to survive, we must cultivate the science of human relationships, the ability of all peoples, of all kinds, to live together and work together in the same world at peace. The work, my friends, is peace, more than an end of this war, an end to the beginning of all wars. Yes, an end forever to this impractical, unrealistic settlement of the differences between governments by the mass killings of peoples. The president is sitting in a leather armchair. He turns to the artist. "We've got just 15 minutes more," he says. Some cousins of his and a friend are in the room. They are quiet. The president is studying papers. The 15 minutes are almost up when he raises his hand to his temple. "I have a terrific headache," he says, and they're the last words he ever spoke.